You're on.
Well, thank you all for coming to our meeting today. And this is a Boston Metro meeting, as I understand. So I've talked, my objective, what you asked for is to talk about non-bookstore marketing. And that's what we'll talk about particularly. But talk about the chapters. So do you want to record this or just?
Yeah, we can just, we can be an informal discussion. Okay. We only have a camera on you, but so you have to be.
Okay. Just as an introduction to me, I have been in the publishing industry since November 9th, 1990 at 10:37 a.m. And I started writing books about how to get a job. And I just built a business out of that. I started actually thinking about how to sell books without getting books returned, without getting books, large distribution discounts, and not having control over it, because I thought you'd sell through bookstores. So I got my books in Barnes & Noble and Walden Books and the bookstores that were back then. And they weren't selling very well. But they were selling well, but not nearly as much as I had wanted to sell. So it's something that really changed my whole way of doing business. I thought, who else needs the information in my books? And that was, I started thinking about the content, how to use the information in my books. And I was thinking about it could be college students. It could, again, the books, how to get a job. So college students, state governments. And that was really an important question about who else can use the content, the information. So I started selling it to these things. And my impetus for doing that is I had 5,000 books in the garage, and I was selling these out, 10 here, 10 there, whatever. And one day my wife came to me and said, "Brian, I want to make one thing perfectly clear." And I said, "What's that?" She said, "The garage." So
then I mean clear.
Yeah, that's right. I want to get my car in the garage. So I started selling it to non-bookstore buyers, and really found out some very important things. That one is that the form doesn't matter. You're selling the content, the information in the book, and that's what I learned. That was people were not buying the books; they were buying the content, the information. How do I get a job more quickly? It wasn't. I don't want a book on how to get a job. I want a job, and that. So I thought, who else can use that? And this is how I just built my business. I went to the state departments of labor. So there are obviously 50 opportunities there, and started asking how they would use my book. And they said, "Do you have a great book? This Job Search 101 is a great book, but we're not going to buy it." And I said, "Why not?" And they said, "Well, when we have a workshop, we do these workshops. When you have a perfect bound book, you lay it down. It doesn't lay flat. It just comes back up upon itself. So you can't use it." So I took it to Staples. We cut off the binding and put a wire binding on it. I brought it back to the state, and they said, "Lays flat. We love it. We'll take it." They put a standing order in for 8,000 books a quarter.
Oh my gosh!
Just because I just cut the binding off, and it really hit. I said, "Wow, that's interesting." I got to go to the other states and they do the same thing. So I went to the other states and they had the same concept. And a lot of them bought it and had a standing order. So I was printing 50 or 100,000 books sometimes at a time. Not 100,000 of this one, but I was thinking about sometimes 40, 50,000 books at a time, just because I had the orders in advance, so I could time it that way, and it was really, really good. One thing I learned also, see if you concur with this, that some printers don't like this idea, but this is back in 1992, and I was trying to think of how I could get the printing cost down. And so when I was printing this quantity, that was actually before this order, but I was thinking that what's the most expensive part of printing a book like this? The cover. It's a 4-color cover, and the rest it's black and white. So I did. I went to my printer, and we printed up 10,000 covers, and just put 2,000 books together at a time. So I got a real. My unit cost went from about $1.75 to about 75 cents because I took the most expensive part of the book and did that in a large quantity. And then they just did and I actually got a call from Kmart one time. They wanted to do a special promotion on Job Search. This is back when the economy was really not doing well. So they said, if you can get 5,000 books to me by this date, it was about 2 weeks out, so we'll take them. And I had to print these all up again. I would not have made that deadline. We had the covers on hand. The printer kept them there. We put 5,000 books together, and I made the deadline. I got about 1,000 back, but it was I got it to them. So it was, so I learned that to find out the who can use the form doesn't matter. So it was in this same concept, and then thinking that it's along the same ideas of who else wants a college student to get a job more than the student does. The parents.
Parents.
So I went to American Student List Company and got a list of the parents of graduating college seniors. It was by name. The list was to them. And I did a regional roll. I did a mailing to the parents in Connecticut and tried 2 different teasers on the envelope. I wrote those out and sent those to the parents in Connecticut and offered a package. I had 2 books and a video. And it was the teaser was something like, you spent $60,000 putting your kid through college. What's another $69.95? I phrased it a little bit more professionally.
Yeah.
And
I bet it clicked.
It did. The parents wanted it, and it was. And I also used some of my old advertising background, but I keyed the different teasers on the envelope. I actually hand wrote teasers on the envelope and tested which ones came back to a different department to see which one worked. So when I went to the region, then I was able to. I've used the right one. But interesting, we were at the Cape one time. My wife and I went out there for the weekend. I brought 3,000 of these labels, and I was labeling while she was out on the beach. And I handwrote, it was to the parents of Susie Jones, and I said, it was to their name. I said, Mr. and Mrs. Jones, this is great. This will help Susie get a job. Did that for 3,000 envelopes over the weekend. I took them to the post office.
The handwriting just really gets people, though, nowadays.
Oh, there's a company, I think it's called Fast Print or something. They send them a list. They handwrite out all the envelopes for you. And so I've used them. And it makes a big difference on the return. But I got this, and so I sold a lot of books to the parents. But the package with the video and the 2 books. So by asking that question of who else can use your content is really important. And another question I asked myself: who else can use it? And I was looking at, there was no information for the Hispanic marketplace. So I had my Job Search 101 translated into Spanish, and it came back as El Trabajo 101. Sounded good to me. I don't speak Spanish. That sounds good. So I took it to somebody who does speak Spanish and said, this is ridiculous. So, what's 101? The basic course in the U.S.
But
not anywhere else. It could have been Job Search 726. It didn't make any difference. So I had to have the whole thing retranslated. I don't speak Spanish, so I'm there to say so.
Yeah.
I got back, it was really a lot better, but it was. And I did learn the definition of one word in Spanish, mañana. When will my translation be done? Mañana. And I also learned mañana doesn't mean tomorrow. It means not today. There's a big difference.
More open-ended, right?
That's exactly right. So I kept saying, we said tomorrow. I said, no, I said mañana.
There's a life lesson in that, too.
I learned a lot about the life in general.
Mm-hmm.
So it's, but I keep asking this and had to translate a really good translation done, and it was so much better that way.
Where did you get the translation done? How did you do that?
I went to Miami Book Fair, and it was a lot of Spanish-speaking exhibitors there, and I took it to them and said, here's my manuscript, El Trabajo 101, what do you think? And every one, I took it to 3 or 4 people. They didn't laugh in my face, but they probably, as soon as I left, they probably started laughing. But,
silly green.
Where did you get the first translator?
Somebody up in Avon. It was somebody I knew that spoke Spanish as a second language, and like a devil's advocate was El Diablo Avocado or something like that. It was very.
The devil's advocate.
Yeah, it was very. I thought it was great because again, I didn't speak Spanish.
You can do crowdsourcing on translations now too.
This is before the internet.
Yeah.
This is This is before Amazon.
Zoom, zoom.
How do we ever live then?
I don't know.
I shouldn't say it on camera. People think I'm archaic or something. You were alive before Amazon. You were selling books, but it was just it kept doing this. I got a call from a prison librarian one time, and said, "We want to buy your job search book." I said, "Why?" And say, "Why? Why? Well, prisoners got a prison. We want to make sure they're trained to get a job." And I never would have thought of that. So I sold the books to 1,500 prison librarians, just by because this person called me. And I was thinking, who else is in the same situation? the military. They're in there for a certain amount of time, and then they get out and they want to be trained for a job. So I went to start selling to the military that way. And I found out another opportunity in the military that the military really wants the family to do well, not just the service person, because they want the person to re-enlist. And the person following the service person, the spouse, had to change jobs every couple of years. So I started selling it I would go on the bases and the forts doing presentations about how to get a job for the people who are changing their career every 2 years or whatever it may be. And then those who are just about to get out. So I got really 2 markets in the military. It all stemmed just from asking a question of who else, and just kept doing that. So it actually, the way I want to organize this is that's how I got started in the business. And I was coming up today. I really wanted to try to do something different today than just talk about my general pitch about here's what special sales is and here's what it's not. I was thinking that there are 7 questions you can ask yourself to get into the non-bookstore market. 5 W's: who, what, where, when, why, how, and how much. And just thinking that I have to go to my notes here. Just I was working in this, but I was thinking that who's your target market, and to try to you don't have to be really specific. You don't have to say, well, it's males 35 to 50 or something like that. Is it an older echelon, an older demographic? Because then maybe you want to use a larger typeface, more leading or something like this stuff, or if it's a better educated group that tells you what kind of publicity, what type of your vocabulary, the terms that you'll use, or the words that you use. If it's a younger group, you talk about post-apocalyptic efforts. If it's an older group, you talk about picnics.
Yeah.
So it's by knowing that, and also the income. If it's a little higher demographic than me, you want to sell books on cruise ships or in Nordstrom's and not in Walmart. So by defining your target reader, you get a much better idea where you could sell the books, and that I think was a good question but then ask, once you know who, and then ask who else, and keep asking that question, who else. And it's asking questions is really interesting, the way you phrase the question, because you can say, where else can I sell my book? And you can say libraries. Well, that answers your question, but it's only one. It's not a group. It may not be the best answer. But you can say, in how many other places can I do this, or who else? The more that you can broaden the question, like the more responses you get, and the more likely you are to take that. Maybe it's the 5th response. It's really the big, and that's the one that hits. And in brainstorming, I found that to be the case many times that the first response is generally not the best one. It's the one that this may sound really weird, but what if we boom, and you do that? Like
So it takes persistence.
it does.
And
Creative
observing
persistence.
their mission and their goal is, and see how it address that with your pitch, right?
That's the why question.
Yeah.
It's really a really critical part of it. Because people will say, we'll do that consulting with authors, and I'll say, tell me about your book. This is the way you sell it. Well, it's 320 pages. It's 6x9 hardcover. I've got 26 4-color photographs on really 100-pound glossy paper, and it's look at all these reviews. I've got 4 pages of reviews and awards, and they think they're selling their book that way. And I do a little vignette like that, and then they'll say, well, and the best part about it's only $14.95. But if you buy 10,000 today, it's 50% off. You can have it for $750. What do you say? No thanks. And a different way to approach it is you go to a buyer and you want to find out how they're using it and why they're using it. So you'd say something to the effect, may I ask you, starting out, may I ask you a question or a few questions? Sure. Most people they'll say that's fine. So have you ever used a book as a premium before? No, I haven't. What do you use? Oh, we use coffee mugs. How do you use those? Well, we go to trade shows and we have the coffee mugs. If people come to our exhibit, we give them a trade show. So thank you. And you have to store those, right? Ship them to the trade show? Well, yeah. And they have a break? Well, yeah, they do. Don't a lot of other exhibitors have coffee mugs too? Yeah, they do. So by asking these questions, you're creating doubt. And how many do you buy? Oh, we usually buy about 5,000 at a time. So just by asking that, you know what they're using, how they're using it, why they should not use it, you know how much you know what their budget is, because the coffee mugs are about $2 each. You buy 5,000 of them, it's $10,000. So just, and if you're giving them 50% off, you're selling your book at $7.50, and they're paying $2 for a coffee mug, they're not going to buy your book. So at least you know where you have to be in cost-wise, and you know if you print 5,000 books, how much it's going to cost you. So directly to your point, you're finding out why do they want to buy it, like why your book, or why should they want to buy it, and then that's how you have to sell it to their needs. And the needs change by target market. You know, where are you going to sell it? That's, you know, who. If people go to Walmart or Hallmark, then that's where you have your book, or libraries. So that's the important thing, knowing where they're going to, where you have to have your book, and when you're going to sell it. So if you answer those questions, who, where, when, why, it's really important. But the why part, your question, you have to sell books to why they want to buy it. And I tell a way to draw that out is to create a PAR statement. I call it PAR statement. You just in 3 columns, right? Problem, action, result. What's the problem people want to solve? Librarians, they want their page returns. Retailers want store traffic. They want inventory turns and more profit per square foot. The media, the radio stations, you know, they're looking for higher ratings. They're looking for a good show for their audience. So the result over here is different for every person you're talking to. The corporate buyer wants to sell more of their product. The retailer wants, the associations want more membership off dues revenue. So you need to find out why your target market is interested in buying your content.
So IPNY could take this book and offer it as a
Sorry, get that on camera.
as a premium for signing up for the conference, say, for example.
Exactly.
Yeah, this would be totally appropriate.
Yeah.
The precursor to this was Beyond the Bookstore.
Yeah.
And CAPA did that. I run the Connecticut Authors and Publishers Association also. And they did that. They bought 150 books and gave them to people who signed up the early bird special.
Yeah.
So you go there.
Because we would like to send more people. That's why, and then most publishers and authors, their primary need is to sell more books. You know.
Well, I tell people successful when they stop selling their books.
Yeah.
It sounds odd, but you want to sell what the book does, not what it is.
Yeah, that's true.
What it does. And if you can sell, I would go to job seekers. If they're not looking for a book, the problem is they want to get a job. And if they can do that at the library or the state
they're not
government.
looking for a book. Yeah.
They're looking at a way to get a job faster, and it doesn't matter if it's a book. I went to colleges and found out that I knew that from my own kids that college students don't like to read, and if they have an interview tomorrow, they want to read a book tonight on interviewing, and then go to interview tomorrow, and then go back and have a party. At least that's what my kids wanted to do. So I took the chapters out of Job Search 101, resumes, cover letters, interviewing, telephone techniques, and made a little booklet out of it. 32-page booklet, and sold those to the colleges for $1 each. They got the students got the information for free. The colleges, their objective was to have more students graduate with a job, so they could tell incoming freshmen that you're more likely to come to our school, get a job. And I got paid. I got paid more by selling these $1 at a time than selling the books, discounted book. So it worked out
Like
very well.
the Cliff's Notes, essentially.
Yeah, there you go. It was, but I didn't have to rewrite it. Well, I did. I changed the word student to citizen, unemployed citizen, and sold the same booklets to state governments. In Connecticut, people signed up for the unemployment benefits, got a shrink-wrapped package of 8 booklets of how to get a job. But I also had to watch a video that I did. I was trying to demonstrate or trying to write eye communication and gestures and posture and body language, and I couldn't do that. I could do that, but I couldn't really get it across. So I did a video on how to do that. And this is back when videos were put them in a little cassette in there. And I did that, and it's also, it was You're on the Air. It was about how to get on a perform on TV and radio shows. I'd been the host of a TV show for 13 years. So I had that experience also about how to get on and perform on. So I did this, and the Civil Engineers Association called me up, said they wanted to buy 100 of these videos. I said, why? So we have these engineers all around the country. We have 100,000 members. And if a bridge goes down in Dubuque, we want the local media to call our member to come on the air to talk about why that bridge went down. Then they get more business because they got the exposure. So I said, why don't you buy 100,000 if you got 100,000 members? They didn't like that, but then they bought 100. They ended up buying a couple thousand of them because it was a $99 package, and they would just sell them like a 50% discount.
Right.
And they resold them to their members around the country. So they're making $50 each one of these too. So they like the idea. But it was that, again, it reinforced the fact that you're not selling your book, Charlotte. That wasn't being positioned there.
No, I hear
You're selling
you.
the information, the content. It's used by different people.
Yeah. I mean, that
different
goes
ways.
along with a lot of the content marketing mantras that you hear about, just, write about your passion, just, blog about it, whatever, but stick with that and don't, it's not like the rest will come if you're aware of how to sell it. But if you're not producing a product that you believe in, then it's not going to ring true with other people. So.
Very much so. When you're
Yeah.
looking across the desk to a buyer and they're thinking, well, should I buy 10,000 of these or not?
Yeah.
You say, well, it's a pretty good book. I think you'll like it.
Yeah.
Well, I think then they're going to say,
It's
no,
like,
I'm not going to buy
I've
it.
spent my life, figuring out how to market books. And that's,
But again, the buyers don't care.
mhm.
I tell people to use the so what test. Trying to get on the air. I just wrote a book. So what? It'll help people get a job. So what? If I'm on your show, it's information that's important to 95% of your audience, and your ratings will go up, and people say you have a better show. Oh, now I understand. And so you need to get that.
Yeah.
No, now I understand. That point is different for every.
Yeah.
Go to a librarian. They don't care about store traffic or profit per square foot. They want to help their patrons. And so you find out what that. Keep getting back to that, but that's why I tell people. I try to get their attention by saying you'll sell more books when you stop selling your books.
Yeah, that's,
And
you got my attention.
Yeah, right. How do you help the audience?
Yeah,
versus,
yeah.
Why, they don't really care about your story. They care about theirs.
exactly right. And we went to had a book on how to take care of your dog. So I went to Purina, and nice book. So what? Well, do you want to sell more 20-pound bags of dog food? Well, sure. What if you put a coupon on your book, in your 20-pound bags of dog food for a free book on dog care? Interesting topic. I think I'll try that. So they bought 10,000 books. We put Purina on the cover. They put a coupon in there. They did all the fulfillment. They bought the books, non-returnable, and they sent them out because, but their objective was to sell more 20-pound bags of dog food, which they did. Their sales of. They're on the shelf there. Should I buy this one, this one, this one? Oh, they're about the same price. Purina's a good name. I get a free book. I think I'll take that.
Yeah.
And that was
Free
their
book
book.
that's
So
going
it's
to help me take care of my dog, which is
Yeah.
why I'm buying the dog food.
exactly right. Yeah. So you get that double return on your investment. And it's the more these companies, the more you realize that they don't care about your book. The media doesn't care about your book. The bookstores don't care about your book. What they want to have the book on the shelf that's going to sell the fastest and the most profitable. And that's why even submitting to books to distributors or to any retailer with a bookstore, a Hallmark, an airport store, supermarket, whatever that may be, that they don't care about the book as much as they care about your promotion. So I'll be on this show and this show and this show, and I'll tell people it's available in Kroger's or in Safeway or in Stop and Shop, because it's all help you your store traffic. Oh, that's good. I think I'll put your book on the shelf then and take this one off because they don't promote it. So it's you're the more that you know why they want to buy, which is totally different from the way people are selling books. They get their book in a bookstore and they'll call up the distributor. Why aren't you selling more of my books? It's not their job. Barnes & Noble doesn't sell books. They display books. Amazon doesn't sell books. They display books. The author's got to go out and do the promotion of it. And I tell people that, which gets to the how. We talked about who does it, what they buy is a different format, when they buy it. Well, it's for job search. The college kids buy it in June. The parents bought it in April. But you have to think about if you're selling books as a gift, then what if it's driving up here up to Mass Pike? The signs drive slowly. This is National Work Zone Safety Week.
There's a
So you go to
opportunity.
a website called holidayinsights.com, and it lists all these weeks and months. This could be National Plant Your Flowers Month in the snow.
Yeah.
And then if you have a book on how to plant flowers, then you get on the air that way. But then you go to the garden shops and get them. You buy this 50-pound bag of fertilizer instead of a 10-pound bag of fertilizer. You get a free book with it about how to plant your garden. So that's but it works with fiction too. It's not just for nonfiction. We had romance novel, and 800 Flowers wants to sell flowers. They don't want to care about romance novels. But what if you on Valentine's Day, if you buy this large bouquet of flowers, you get your choice of romance novel with it for free. So you can choose this one's for this one. I'll take that one for this bouquet. And go to FTD, Munson's Chocolates. We did that for Valentine's Day. They have a promotion. You buy 5-pound box of chocolate instead of a 1-pound box of chocolate. You get a free romance novel with it. So that's the works of fiction. Also, another way it could work with fiction is that we had a book, The Middle Fork. Well, the title's not important because the content was about whitewater rafting in Idaho. And we looked at the book, and so we went to Idaho. Went to the manufacturers of canoes and rafts, and they bought X thousand books, put their logo on it, and gave them to Dick's Sporting Goods, gave them to Sports Authority. Anybody that came to look at their canoes got a free copy of the book.
Wow.
Put them on their website. Come to our website, you get a free copy. You download a PDF of this book. Went to the companies that put on these whitewater rafting adventures. They bought them too.
Do you use QR codes anywhere? I mean, like,
That's another. Yeah, we do.
so because people are always, they're aware now of how to do it. Scan the code when they're looking at kayaks or something.
I might tell people you can make this an electronic book and still have it printed. Just put QR codes in there.
Yeah.
They scan it and it takes you right to a video. We did that one for
Wow.
one client. They put a QR code in the back, and they could scan that, and the author comes on and saying, "Here are 10 reasons why you should buy my book." And-
So they're right at the bookstore
Yeah.
or
And
wherever
the
they
author
are.
is to describe. Here's what this. Well, not with the book. Here's what this book can do for you.
Yeah, exactly.
And here's how
Here's
you
what
buy
this
this instead of the
book
other books on the shelf. I had that with when I started selling my books at bookstores. I ran across the parachute book. What color is your parachute? And that was always face out. Mine was always spine out. So I went there and put that book spine out, but my book face out. But there's another reason. When I went to college, well, not so much college, the state governments and the Hispanic market, they never heard of what colors a parachute. They never heard of it. They didn't buy it. To them, it was just a book I heard about. So it was something that it was helpful to have a non-competitive segment marketplace.
Yeah.
That just reminds of what I did before I came out. I was not in the book business. I was in healthcare marketing, and I didn't know about publishing. So I went to the bookstores, and I went to look at the career section, and they're all alphabetical by order, by author. So where would Judd be? Well, right here. Who's going to be next to me? What are they talking about? What are their topics? What's their pricing? What are the colors of the covers? What do the covers look like? They're all 6x9s right across there, all nicely. So I put Job Search 101 in an 8.5 by 11 size. So it's and it was a green color because none of the books around me were green. What color's your parachute wasn't green, and money was green. So I thought it would be something that would be good for that. So by doing a little bit of research, I was able to come up with a better book, and the pricing was better because it was in line with what the books right next to mine were about. Then after I had the book out, and I wanted to see why people bought it, and I was at one of the bookstores, and the one copy of Job Search 101 was on the shelf, and this lady went over there, she took it off, and looking at it, and I went over to her. I want to find out why she bought mine instead of the other ones. And I said, that's my book. She said, I saw it first. I said, what I meant is I wrote it.
When they were fighting over it.
Yeah, so I autographed it for her, so she had to buy it, and then I sold it. It was fun just to do the research. It can help you.
What did she say? When you asked me.
Oh, she said it stood out. It was bigger than the rest of them. It just caught my eye, and she was just looking at it. But that's the reason why she took it off the shelf. Probably should have waited a little longer until she looked at it, maybe she put it back and said, why she didn't like it. But just doing a little bit of research up front can be very important. Just one more thing on the where they buy. It's really to organize your opportunities by market segment. If you have the retailer, the Hallmark store could buys for different reasons than do airport stores or corporations or associations or schools. If you have a children's book, you can sell it to daycare centers, PTAs, PTOs. You can sell it to Toys R Us. You can sell it to airport stores, children's museums, children's libraries. The military buys a lot of children's books. The Department of Defense runs 200 schools outside the U.S. So each one of those buys for a different reason. So the more you can segment your opportunities and put those in reason and organize them by reasons in which they buy, then you're selling for them. And for Lindsay, for when you're doing publicity, the headline's got to be different for each target market, as you well know. You can't sell just the headline has to be different. You have to have that written or any publicity, whether you're on the air, a press release, talking to somebody at a trade show. It's about them, not about you or your book. Mm-hmm. So the more you know about where they're going to buy, why they buy, who's buying it, when they buy it, how they buy it, then you can do that. As far as how they buy it, I put that. I was trying to think of a way to organize this, and you take. Am I right on this?
Sure, of course.
Just do a large rectangle and put it in quadrants. And here you have promotion isn't just authors think this, that I get on the air once on a radio show and everybody's going to buy my book because I was on the air. That doesn't happen yet, but promotion has short-term impact and long-term impact. And some is for exposure, some is for sales. Mm-hmm. And this is the way I think that you should organize your promotion. Because people say, well, I'm on Twitter, I'm on Facebook, I should be selling a lot of books. I have 10,000 followers. I don't know, have you ever seen any correlation between the number of followers and the number of sales?
No. I run away when I see someone's, hot new title, buy my book, it's free. I don't even want a free book. I don't want to spend my time that way.
I did a posting on Facebook last week. I said, don't do that.
Please don't.
I said, you're describing the value you put on your content.
Yeah, I think I amplified that because I just really believe it.
Yeah. You go to a corporate buyer who's selling ebooks. We went to a bank. A bank wanted to promote or thank and promote, primarily thank prospects and customers and employees. So we set up we're in the process of doing that now, setting up a branded landing page. It's like a bookstore, the ebooks up there, the Kindle or EPUB or the Mobi. And the bank buys X thousand one-time use codes. So they give them out to their employees, their prospects, their customers. Books on childcare, books on how to get a home loan, books on how to buy a boat. Try to get them bank-oriented, but their employees are looking for books on personal relationships. So ebooks can sell well that way. And the bank is getting their name out. They're getting that coloring. We have we put that into this. We set up libraries and bank branches with little booklets on there. One was a coloring book for kids. It had pictures of balls and dollar signs and different bills. That thing to do with the bank to keep the kids busy while mom and dad are talking about how to get a home loan.
What's the E and the S stand for?
Exposure and sales.
Mm-hmm.
And if you do something like publicity, I think it's up here, long-term exposure. There's different types of, there are probably different definitions of some of these. People have different definitions, but I think publicity is up here, where it's long-term exposure. Mm-hmm. Where if you're working on something, if you do it consistently and do it directed to the needs of this segment versus this segment versus this segment. Then I think it's over. Where short-term selling might be a trade show, or it could be telephone, or it could be direct marketing, whether email or snail mail or email. But and long-term
fiction.
selling it might be a corporate buyer, where you could work for. We've had working for several years, 2 or 3 years. And also you got to work for $10,000. Short-term exposure could be Twitter, or it could be social, any kind of social media. But that's, you're always out there, but you don't get sales from that. Even media appearances. People get on there and they say, "Well, I was on 2 shows this week. I didn't sell any books. I went to Amazon, didn't my book." And I said, "So what? You didn't really expect it, did you?" Well, certainly I did. It was on for 20 minutes.
Interesting. You put publicity there on the long term, and I was thinking it's actually both short and long. Again, there's a lot. For instance, you're right. 2 shows, you're not going to sell 1 million books, but it's what I tell my clients. What I do is some leverage marketing. It's how you use those 2 appearances. It's how you Facebook, how you tweet, how you know what I'm saying?
Oh, yeah.
In other words, so everybody knows that you were on those shows, whether or not they even heard you, it doesn't matter.
People would come to me and they'd say, I'd say, "Who's your target reader?" Everybody. What's your marketing plan? A couple of years ago, what's your marketing plan? Well, I'm going to get on Oprah and sell 10 million copies.
I know.
And I call it the Phantom of the Oprah. It's such a ridiculous concept.
Yeah.
You can't sell to everybody. People send out a press release. This is the best book ever written. You may have seen these. I'm proud to announce my new book is released. So what? The old radio station WIIFM. What's in it for me?
Yeah.
Why should I care?
Right.
Next release. So publicity could be here if it's written properly. It's exposure, certainly, and to get it out in the short term. And also to the niche publicity. Instead of getting on Oprah, get on, if you have a cookbook, get on a show about how to cook, or a business book, a book of business. A tennis magazine will give you more exposure, could give you more exposure than People magazine to your target audience.
Yes. Right. You go where your buyers are.
That's right. Then publicity could be, it is exposure, but I think the impact, I was thinking more of the impact of publicity is cumulative.
Yes, exactly.
And that's why I put it over here.
Oh, okay.
And even media appearances I put over here. And this short, we'll say what's short, what's long term. It's up to you.
Yeah.
Some people, short term is, well, I've had my book out a week and no sales yet. And I hear that a lot. It's not a week, obviously, but short term. But this could be a year. In the corporate world, the short term could be a year.
Yeah.
Right.
And we had one company. Their objective was to lower absenteeism, increase productivity, and reduce their healthcare costs. They had 10,000 employees. So we set up a continuity program. In month 1, each employee got a book on walking. Month 2, a pedometer. Month 3, a journal to keep track of their exercise. And then they hired the author of the walking book to fly around the country, talk to their different locations, about going to Rochester and talking to the employees up there about the benefits of walking. So that took almost 3 years to put together. But then we got to work for 20,000 books. It wasn't bad. So it's the definition of short and long is up to the eyes of the beholder. But these, I think, are more definitive with the exposure. There's certain things you do to create the sale, where actually going in front of somebody and selling it, like to the parents, even that direct mail program to the parents. That was a short term thing. So I tested it in Connecticut. It went very well, and then I just changed around the teaser on the envelope, and then just went regionally and nationally. But something like a trade show, you go to biztradeshows.com, biztradeshows.com. It lists every trade show in the country, in the world. You can sort that by industry, by location. If you live in New York, it's just Javits Center has most of these in there. So there are, you go to something like a biz trade show, and go to these trade shows, and I think that you can sell books there. You can't. Some shows don't let you sell books there, but you can certainly take orders, and you can set up appointments where you can call somebody and meet with somebody and say, I'll meet you next week. I'll talk to you next week. And telephone can be a great way to reach people in the short term, the corporate buyers. And if you do it right, if you call and say, I need to sell 10,000 books because I have to make my mortgage payment next month, so what? But if you call up with a PAR statement, I tell people to get a 30-second voicemail message. That is, most of the times you get voicemail. So
Mm-hmm.
leave a voicemail message based upon a PAR statement for that buyer, then you're much more likely to get a return call. So I think that those are
And PAR again is.
a problem, action, result. The problem is, I don't know when to use the problem is my sales are down books. The action is to find out where else you can sell those books. The result is you increase your revenue, your profits, and the books are sold non-returnable. Oh, now I understand.
Mm-hmm.
So that I can show you how to sell books non-returnable. Your sales go up, your revenue goes up, and your profits go up. Well, okay, I'll listen to that. That's why you asked me up there.
Yeah.
Tell people.
And I think one of the terrifying things for self-publishers and independent publishers is returns. And avoid returns. I mean, I never allow returns on Lightning Source. I can't deal with it.
The point of no return.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the reason I went to this, because if you want to sell 10,000 books in retail, you have to sell 12,000 books, because it's 20% return rate is not that high, really.
Mhm, I know.
It could be higher than that. I know Eric Kamen at Midpoint, he usually tells people it could be a 30 to 35% return rate, and depending on the promotion that the author does. And that, but that's the corporate world does that. That's how much time do you want to do this?
Wow. Well, you just have a nugget every minute. So I don't know if another 10 minutes or
Sure.
15.
Sure. Just that's just done. This is the dry copies.
Sorry. Ah,
Just kidding.
yeah.
This when I try to describe what's your definition of special sales?
I think of associations, trade shows. But I've heard you talk a lot. And every time you mention something new, I think, oh yeah, it's a non-bookstore.
That's what most people say is non-bookstore, which it is. It's non-bookstore marketing. Sometimes that's so broad that it's hard to really get a handle on how you can do that. So this is what I used to try to create those niches we talked about before. That you have like a children's book, you have the children's libraries, museums, daycare centers, PTAs, military, Toys R Us, and each one. So you organize those in different groups. But what I do is I break it down into two sectors, two opportunities of retail and non-retail. And retail is much like selling to a bookstore, because you sell through a wholesaler or distributor. You have distribution discounts. That's the retail
We'll
portion.
put this on the event page when
Okay.
we publish.
You get paid 120 days after returns. The distributor may keep an escrow account for returns, and it's this chart on the right is where the author is in the whole process. And you have a lot of steps. You don't have your relationship is not with the buyer. The relationship is with the distributor, the channel, the distribution chain, the value chain. So you don't have that communication with the people buying your books. You don't know why they're not buying your books. So that is, and that examples of that are little bookstores and gift shops. And in retail, it's really important to know the customer of your customer. You can say gift shops. Well, so what? Hallmark will buy for a lot of different reasons than will Spencer Gifts, or the customer, I should say. Hallmark is much different from the customer of Spencer Gifts. There are hotel gift shops. There are hospital gift shops. There are museum gift shops, zoos. Each one is a different customer, different target market. They buy for different reasons. So the more that you can define who your target is and why their customers buy from them. And when you go to talk to them, you can say that this book is designed for the empty nester, the grandparents who frequent a Hallmark gift shop, or is designed. This is information that's local for the travelers at your hotels. You can have a different book on a different part, depending where your hotel is in the country. You have a different book on a different topic. Pharmacies and supermarkets, airport stores. You think of like airport stores. Who's the customer of your customer? Business travelers, parents on vacation, or, traveling with a family. So they're looking for. They have different reasons for buying books. And there are different keys for this, like airport stores. If you go to Hudson, you have what's the pay-to-play concept. We had to pay them to have your books on there on the shelf. And they're very unlikely to take any self-published books or books that are not by Simon & Schuster, Random House, or some top publishers. So go to the non-bookstore airport stores. Go to the website for the airport stores and the airport, and that lists all the stores on the concourses. And at the Hartford Airport, there's, let's talk about Logan. There's a perennial bestseller there. Is a book. It's a picture book on Fenway Park, and that sells. It's an evergreen. It's there all the time. It sells very well.
You want to get that
It's a
memorabilia
Yeah.
before you go home.
Exactly right. And it's something, but that's not going to sell in L.A. or New York, certainly, if they're not going to have a book on Fenway Park.
Yeah.
So, but if you know where your targets are, and books in Spanish or Spanish bilingual books sell a lot better in the Gulf Coast books than they would up in New England or the West Coast. The European topics sell much better on the East Coast and West Coast, and so it's the more that you know about the buyers of these stores, and then we go to them and you say, here's why you should have my book on in your store, and here's why, because you have this many travelers coming through here on this topic. We had one book, it was one of my clients had a book of Jet with Kids. It was a book about how to travel on a flight was a safe and comfortable flight for everybody, and how to keep the kids busy. And we also got into traveling internationally, what forms, passports, or what forms you need to have, and clothes you could buy that were not flammable. And it was really a good book on that. And that sold well in airport stores.
Yeah, it has to be a good book because there's so many bad books on particularly that topic.
Yeah. It was, we make sure we get it to But it was well done, and she got on QVC, or we tried to get on QVC, but they wouldn't take it because people could see it and then go on Amazon and buy it for half price. So we put a package together. We got some sponsorship. We got a car seat manufacturer, which she mentioned in her book, and manufacturers of the non-flammable clothes for kids, who was mentioned in the book. And they came up with some sponsorship money. They had a package that you buy the book and you get the car seat and get non-flammable clothes for this price. You can't buy that package anywhere else except on QVC.
Yeah.
Then she got on.
Then she got on.
Because now it's something only QVC can sell. So it's the more that you know your target, how to reach that target, and how you can convince that interim person why they will benefit by having your book on their shelf and somebody else's book. Then you have it done.
Well, can you talk a little bit about what APSS is and does, and do you do coaching for authors? I mean, you're talking about the more you know, and et cetera, and some people might think I can't study another topic. But
great question.
Can you do that for them, coach them, or something in between?
Only above. This is something that
Thank you.
I am the executive director of the Association of Publishers for Special Sales. You may have heard of the organization called SPAN, the Small Publishers Association of North America, which used to be COSMEP back in the early 90s. Then Marilyn and Tom Ross took it over and changed the name to SPAN. And then Scott Flora took it over and kept it as SPAN. And then for a variety of reasons, they wanted to divest it. So I told them I would take it. And given my background in special sales, I changed the name. Well, a couple of reasons. One, the fact that SPAN competed with IBPA. And people would say, why should I join both? And IBPA, or PMA was much bigger. So I think I'll join IBPA. And SPAN membership was just dropping dramatically and significantly over 4 or 5 years. Another reason that they wanted to divest it. So I want to distinguish it from IBPA. So I changed the name to APPS, which is just special sales. So now people can benefit from us, special sales, and also benefit from IBPA for trade sales. So by being a member of both, they can do that. APPS does not sell for our members. We give them all the information that they need to sell their books to non-bookstore buyers. I have another business in which we can do that. We can sell the books for them. Some people just don't want to sell the books. They don't have the time. They don't have the inclination. They don't have the skills. They don't know how to walk up to a buyer at a Fortune 500 company and try to convince them to buy their book. So we can do this for them. But APPS is a national organization of about 4,000 members, 4,300 members, and we offer a lot of discounts. I list these discounts up here. People, they can join to get discounts on trade discounts like Ingram Spark and, sorry for printing through LSI or other reputable printers. And there's a lot of benefits. They can save 70% on UPS and FedEx shipments. These are benefits that you get with a national organization. What I have implemented and started and would like to discuss with you and invite you to join is a network of local chapters. We have a chapter in Hartford, a chapter in Baltimore, Atlanta, Texas, Toronto, Nashville, Sarasota, and Los Angeles now. And if you'll notice on this sheet of paper, I presume that I started the Boston the APPS chapter.
Yes, we've been talking about that, and I think the Dunkin' Donuts model.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Dunkin' Donuts in the gas station.
So these are some reasons on the other side about why people can join it. What I'm trying to do is give local members in Boston the ability to have the national benefits, but still have meetings like this, a local meeting where you can meet face to face and you can talk, network, get the camaraderie, you get the questions asked. Lindsay can talk about publicity and you talk to somebody right face to face on that. So in these chapters, what we're doing is creating that. And Connecticut was my prototype. We've been running that for 5 months. So we have 60 members that are. I also run the Connecticut Authors and Publishers Association. So that's more like the trade association or trade.
Is that once a month, the APPS? Yeah.
CAP is once a month. APPS Connecticut is quarterly, face-to-face, and 2 interim months or by a webinar.
Right.
Atlanta is doing it monthly meetings, face-to-face meetings. West Texas is doing more webinars because their members are 200 miles apart.
Right.
Big problem in
It's a
Texas.
big state.
So I probably have 4 or 5 chapters just in Texas. Or Connecticut, we have 1.
Right.
So it's
Well, maybe we could, at our Metro Boston meetings, we could pipe you in for we could have the APSS segment and, have a chat with you and hang out or something.
sure. Well, actually, what I'm doing, and on the APPS page, on the APPS website, bookapps.org is our website. We have these chapters all listed up with all their upcoming events. We'll also have a resource center. We have a resource center of people that I know and how I've talked to are offering their service to be a speaker. If you need somebody to come to one of your local meetings, they'll come and do that. Or if you need somebody to do a webinar, they'll come and they'll do a webinar for you. So you can have, we'll provide speakers. We can do this via Skype. We can have a national speaker come and to address your meeting. Which I was speaking at the Baltimore at the Mid-Atlantic Publishers Association. And they had 2 speakers. I was one and they had another one. And the other one was via Skype. And they had up on the wall was this Sandra Beckwood. And she really did a nice job. She had a camera, they had a camera facing the audience, and then you could see her on the screen. And she could say, the blue shirt, what was your question?
And that's on the camera via the satellite.
That's right. She was out in Michigan, I think. And then she saw, back in there. Oh, no, to the person to your left. What was the question you had? And it was.
Yeah,
it
we
was
can
almost
do that on
interactive.
Hangouts too,
that's
yeah,
cool.
yeah.
And so we can set that up. We can
Yeah.
provide those speakers for you
Sweet, yeah.
nationally. So you can have your meetings here, and you can have
We plan
a speaker come in from LA.
Doesn't that sound exciting? Yeah.
So
Then
we
we
have-
just
we
get
have
so
this-
much information to people. I mean,
Yeah, and have some of these people really experts,
Yeah,
nationally
yeah.
known experts in the topic,
yeah.
without having to fly somebody in from the West Coast. You get
Right, because
a
we
pointer
have
or
people,
something.
in rural Vermont or New Hampshire or whatever. They've written a really cool book on organic farming or something.
Yeah.
And they don't get to Boston to the trade shows or, they need, they're intelligent, they will take it in, but they,
So one thing,
yeah.
that's one thing that we're working on now. A couple of major things that this is a virtual trade show.
Yeah,
That would be something that we have a printer, a distributor, a publicist, and a trade show.
Mhm.
And say, it won't be one, it'll be several different ones. So I think I'll go and talk to these different publicists. What's Lindsay say, for example? What's
yeah,
what's this person say? And it'd be like a trade,
Right.
not like a trade show. You can go to this site and work to a different printer. You can have that done, or just different distributor, and just compare notes. And then
we had
make
been
your
talking about having, since we postponed our conference till September, having sort of an unconference of, the online. There's a product called On Hangouts that plugs in to Hangouts, and you can then have a lobby where the live show is going on, and then people can break off into one of, I think, 10 different rooms where there's a different expert in each room, or share documents, do presentations, anything you can do in a Hangout. So
I guess you're good.
we can
I
confirm
think
that.
particularly with you have the same opportunity as West Texas.
Yeah,
Your members are really spread out.
they are. I mean,
Yeah,
that's a
same
big,
with
big
that.
problem.
If he's looking at having 2 or 3 meetings a month.
Yeah.
Not every month, maybe a quarterly meeting.
Yeah.
In Midland, and he named these cities that are 200 miles apart.
Yeah.
But you can do that. But
Yeah.
LA is different.
It's a big problem.
We
when
can
we're-
have 2 or 3 chapters in LA.
Yeah.
We have we're starting out
That's what
in Orange County, LA, and North LA.
Pam's always talking about Bay Area Publishers, which is a IBPA affiliate as well. And but they're a big metropolitan area. They're a single place, and they, people don't have to drive 400 miles to get to their workshops. So they have 50, 60, 100 people at them.
Yeah.
But I'm really excited about doing that, and we can put our heads together. It'd be great.
Yeah, and we offer a lot of these, the national benefits, or the benefits of a national organization with the benefits of a local face-to-face meeting on this. And I think that if,
Yeah.
we invite you to be an app chap, there's no cost to it. We reinvest 10% of the membership dues to you, it's $60 per year. And so your members would be apps members.
Mhm.
And we would front any money you need for flyers, posters, or whatever,
Yeah.
and get that started. And it's really working out nicely. We had our chapter presidents meeting last week. That was the Zoom meeting I described. That was kind of a disaster. It was great.
The
It was
technology.
great
yeah.
for the first half
Yeah.
hour. I also got the signal.
Yeah.
Notice
Pay up.
$9.99 per half hour.
Yeah.
So, anyway,
Well-
but so the chapter presidents will get together on a quarterly basis, and we'll end up having a retreat.
Uh-huh.
We're doing a lot more programs. We're setting up a speakers bureau we're setting up mastermind groups,
Mhm.
and we're setting up
Mhm.
just a variety of different
Cool.
resources. Again, we can do this on a local basis,
Yeah.
which would be much more difficult on a national basis.
Right.
What,
Well-
what percentage of your office or clients are profitable? How many of them do it as a vanity, and how many do it as a business?
Of the app's members? Great question. There are 4,300 apps members. 3,800 of those are free. The others are paid, approximately. Yeah. The paid people are much more likely to be serious about it. And those who are free, we have an idea marketplace where the free people sign, that's what they get. They don't get any of these benefits. And they can go to different groups on printing, on distribution, on fiction, on children's books, on special sales, on book marketing. And there's very little activity on those
Mhm.
because it's free. So I've stopped the new people coming into that.
Uh-huh.
No, I want to shut it down completely. But I want to phase it out. I'm trying to get those people to see the light,
Yeah.
the benefits of coming to get these benefits for 60. I did a promotion. They could join by the end of March. For the initial membership is $89 the first year, and $60 on each renewal. Chapters get a $60 throughout. But I offer them $45, 50% off the initial, then up to $60 on a renewal. And out of 3,800, I think we got 10 or 12 people that actually took it. So
Because the others aren't serious.
yeah.
Well, what we should do is just get testimonials from people that have done, talk to them on Hangouts and, say, this is why I did it and this is what I got out of it. That would be a good sales point.
Could you just go over again, I'm sorry, I didn't quite understand the difference between joining the national APSS and local? Is this the same?
It's the same thing. If
It's
you
just-
join
so
the
it's a one-time
Boston
fee?
chapter of APS
Yeah.
for $60,
Mhm.
and you're a member of APS National, so you get all these benefits at no additional charge.
Is that as with the IPNY discount, or is there a IPNY discount?
Well, it is because IPNY members can join at $60 also.
Right.
They get that. They don't pay the $89. They pay the $60.
Okay. Yeah. So the 89.
But the
is
renewals are all $60.
Right.
I don't know. That's the old span
Mhm.
tier.
Oh.
It's almost like giving away the 99-cent books for this value for $60. But
Can I, if I join, can I use these resources for my clients, for my authors?
no, these are before your authors. We would like them to join.
Okay, that's what I thought, okay.
All right. Well,
A publisher could join as a publisher, and when they're shipping books, they could get the 70% discount for theirs. But they're individual members. If they wanted to get the discount on Publishers Weekly, then they would and they would.
Oh,
we
that I
would want them
totally
to join.
understand. I was thinking more of the informational stuff, like,
newsletter.
and how to send
Oh, yeah.
the rights to your book, that kind of informational help they could get.
On the website, there are two sections. The paid members click here, and then they get all this information and access
Okay.
to it. You get a membership number when you join,
Mhm.
and that's your sign-in code
Mhm.
and your password, and you have that, and then you have access to all these. And every Thursday, for example, I change the top 10 lists. I have a section of novel ideas for science fiction. Read it and reap.
This is
A
wonderful.
book recommendation,
Yeah.
not a book about book marketing, but a book about
Mhm.
top books. Good to great.
Yeah. Well, I think it will be a great partnership
Yeah.
for IPNY, and
Fabulous, yeah.
we'll talk about it with our
Good.
board. But I'll just wrap up the
If I
recording
if you check
here.
today, do I get a free book with it? Really?
I'll just poke my face in here and I'll just say, this is, oops, wrong. It's reversed, isn't it? I'm Charlotte Pierce. I'm the interim president of Independent Publishers of New England, and we've been really pleased to have you here. This is like totally solid information. And join us again. We're the Metro Boston group, where I happen to live. Meets once a month, and we're going to be ramping up with real specific workshops that we'll be announcing for those monthly meetings. We also have a drop-in coffee hour on Thursdays in Arlington, Massachusetts, and we hope to see you there. Just follow the website at ipne.org for more information. Thanks for dropping by. Say goodbye, Brian.
Oh, goodbye.